Uche, before I throw to you, you've got William Uko standing by. Just very quickly, an interesting dynamic that's developed in terms of the whole Iranian situation right now is that Nigeria might be starting to supply South Africa with crude oil going forward. That was confirmed by South Africa's Deputy Minister yesterday. And that, of course, a very interesting dynamic. South Africa and Nigeria ties starting to strengthen on that front.
Well, that's right, Sam. And, you know, we hope that this will have a positive impact on our markets here, because looking at some of the oil marketing stocks, such as Oando, for example, they're not performing so well. We saw Oando results not so good, quite disappointing. But, Sam, let me give you just a picture of how our markets are performing, because they seem to be struggling to take off. The market, like you said, closed down yesterday 12 basis points at 22,314.66 points. Now, stocks like Lafarge, Dangote, Fleur, Unilever, Oando responsible for this drop. Also, we saw the banking sector returning to the bears today, but we did see some banking stocks rebounding. First Bank, Stanbic IBTC, and Zenith Bank recorded some gains. Now, is the market responding to the MPC decision and the fact that our Q1 GDP numbers show that we're down 6.1%? Let's get more answers on this from William Uko, Strategy Officer at Diamond Bank. William, how are you doing? Okay, good morning. Now, is the market responding to the MPC decision? Of course, our Q1 GDP numbers. Now, analysts did expect the CBN to hold rates, the MPC to hold rates at 12%, but our GDP numbers are also dropping. What's your take? How is the market reacting to these two outcomes? Yeah,
we have to keep in, thank you. We have to keep in mind that in the build-up to the MPC meeting, the consensus was across analysts was that there was no real reason for any upward adjustment of rates. So to a large extent, plus or minus, the expectations were tilted in that direction. So I wouldn't really, I think it would be a bit stretching the argument to say the market really was reacting to the MPC decision. I really don't think so.
You may be right, William, because we're seeing stocks like Oando reporting major losses. Now, the market seems to be responding to their results. We know they released earlier their full year 2011 results, and then yesterday we saw their Q1 2012 numbers, both quite disappointing. Are we expecting them to rebound? We were expecting them to rebound after a bad full year results, but we saw in Q1 2012 they didn't rebound at all. What's your take on this, William?
My take on it is this. If you look at the Q1 results, yes, you're right. There wasn't a sharp rebound per se, but it wasn't significantly, should I say, on the negative side. Okay, I would rather allude to what's happened, to a general trend in the market, which indicates some degree of maturity across board from the investing public. I take an example with the banking stocks. The markets behaved true to type, you know, when the 2011 results were released for some of the major banks in the country that posted good results. I mean, the market responded positively, even for those who didn't particularly post good results for 2011, but did pretty well with Q1. The market also responded positively. I mean, in the same vein. So, I would love to see it more like, yes, we're going through a corrective process in the market. And I think that discipline, that discipline of investment and doing it properly is beginning to take roots. So it's leaning more towards performance than just, you know, probably what it was in the past, unconfirmed stories and things like that. I think we're going to see a more savvy market, or a more savvy investing public. Coming out of this crisis.
Well, William, let's take apart Oando's results. We saw turnover was actually up from 114.9 billion naira to 158.6 billion naira, and of course profit before tax from 5.7 billion naira to 4.9 billion. What do you think is the reason for these disappointing results?
I would say we need to look at our industry holistically. There's no doubt that Oando has been a leading light, and I think to a large extent the bellwether of the industry from the downstream sector particularly. Now, if you read through, it was a brief statement yesterday from the company alluding to production production disruptions, alluding to port delays, and I would sum it up as some operational inefficiencies. Maybe induced, and maybe also from the overall economy. So I would say that, like I said, I still maintain that if the results themselves may not in that sense be really, really heavily disappointing, but maybe because it's coming from an industry leader and expectations were high, the market just reacted to it.
Well, like you're saying, I mean, what is the outlook then for Q2 with Q1 GDP numbers at 6.1%, 6.17%? Is the market really worried about the fact that, you know, Nigeria's GDP numbers, for example, are actually going back, like we talked earlier, and you said they're going back to Q1 2010 numbers. Is the market worried?
Yeah, I would say, now, again, I would say yes. Yes, to a large extent. Keep in mind that we're dealing at this stage well, post-crisis at this stage, we're dealing with institutional investors dominating the market. I mean, recent statistics would show that we're talking about 40%, you know, foreign institutional investors accounting for trading on the market. So they will be more concerned about such figures. And that's why, even though I said that the market may not have reacted to the MPC per se, those disturbing figures about growth may raise some concerns. But there again, knowing the peculiarities of our economy, I mean, we're talking about a fiscal year that really should have started in January. We had disruptions. The budget wasn't passed until about a month ago. You know, we do have those disruptions from time to time at the beginning of the year. So I would say that with the kind of investment public we're seeing, I mean, with the kind of investment patterns we're seeing developing, I would expect some measured anticipation of improvement in Q2. So I don't really think Q2, I don't think this will dampen what you might call the gradual recovery process that much. Q2, I would say investors will be looking more again, for example, looking at, we all know that the banking industry accounts for a significant portion of trading on the stock exchange. So definitely they'll be looking at banks' performance quarter on quarter. Exactly.
Well, William, thank you. I mean, it's certainly good to see somebody who has a good outlook for our markets. Thank you so much for joining us. William Uko, Head of Strategy Officer with Diamond Bank.